That was at the same place, but we didn't go to the cabin. It was Cass Lake. We took big tarps, canvas tarps, and made it into tents. Oh, that's a...
You walked forever, and how old were your brothers? Weren't they little?
Well, let's see. I was 12. Phil was 10, and Paul was 6.
6 is awfully young.
Mom trusted those 2 guys with me out there in the woods.
For one night?
Overnight. I don't know whether we were going to stay 2 nights or what. But definitely overnight. You know, they carried us out there with all that gear, you know, I had pots and pans and Campbell's soup with a can opener and all this shit. And we're ready to, you know.
Sleeping bag and tent?
Well, we didn't have tents, I'm telling you. We had pieces of tarp, and I tie them together and used sticks and whatnot, and made ourselves a tent off a tree.
Right.
Off a big tree.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, a big tree. I think it was a big oak tree. And
how far did you go to get to the woods?
Oh, we didn't walk. We were carried out there. Mom had her friend drove us out.
Oh.
Mom and her friend, you know, her friend drove her boyfriend at the time, Mr. Bear, Ted Bear.
Dumped the kids off for the night.
Yeah, for their weekend or whatever it was going to be.
Yeah.
And so we went fishing. We borrowed a boat and went out. We had bamboo fishing poles were part of our gear, and fish hooks and fish line. So we got some worms and we went fishing in the boat and caught a few little fish, brought them in, and I knew how to clean them, and we fried them, and we ate that, and we ate some other stuff, and then, you know, we had a good time up till then, and we went to sleep, and it started to rain. It was a thunderstorm and lightning, and Paul really freaked. Phil wasn't too comfortable either, well, actually, neither was I, you know, but I mean, Paul was really frightened. He was crying and crying. I guess, you know, please, you know. And then I'm thinking too, you know, lightning. We're at the, you know, we shouldn't be on the biggest goddamn thing in the area, you know, up next to that tree. You know, I thought this is a bad place to be with lightning. So I said, well, we got to move. Got all our shit together, took down all that stuff. And there was a picnic grounds over, you know, like, you know, quarter mile at the most. Well, so we went over there, and I set us up under a picnic table. I put the stuff over the table, you know, and the benches, and then we got under there with our blankets and all our crap. You know, we didn't have sleeping bags. We had blankets, old blankets, you know. So we were under there with all that stuff, and I lit candles, and you know, I'm trying to make, and it's you know, it's the middle of the night now. It's dark, you know, and so it's still raining on and off. But it finally quit lightning. And Paul's still crying every few minutes. He starts crying again. And like I say, Phil isn't all that thrilled either, you know. So I said, well, what do you want to do? You know, what can we do? And he says, we want to go home. I said, okay. So we pack up all this shit into bundles, you know. Somehow we didn't blow off anything. We took everything back with us. And the three of us managed to split it up, you know. And I naturally carried the most. I'm the biggest. And we walked. It was 6 miles to Cass Lake. we walked back. You know, it stopped raining, and it was a nice night. After that, it was, you know, cool, refreshing evening, and we walked. So I don't know how long it took us, but, you know, we didn't stop or anything and rest, or we just kept walking, and we walked till we got back to Pontiac. We got into town, and we agreed that we can't go home now and wake up Mom and admit what happened, you know. We were just too embarrassed. And so, at that time, one of my jobs was as a janitor at one of the shuls, one of the temples, but it was one that was up over some stores in downtown Pontiac, upstairs, and I used to play cards up there all the time. I used to clean up after the Tuesday card game or whatever it was. You know, I was a janitor, sweep, mop, and clean up. You know, it had a kitchen in it and everything, this temple, this shul. It was Orthodox. You know, they weren't the conservative. I mean, they were conservative, or there was the Orthodox, the conservative, and the Reformed. I was, you know, we were Reformed. This was either conservative or, I think it was what they call conservative. They did a lot of Hebrew, you know, more than English and all that, and a little stricter. But that's what this place was. Well, I had the keys. I was the janitor. So we went there. And I took over the kitchen, and I'm cooking for us, you know, and I knew nobody going to be there. You know, I had the schedules, you know, so I knew what it was. So then, in the middle of the next day, yeah, obviously they weren't coming after us for a couple of days. We walked home then. And the way I remember it, Mom couldn't stop laughing. So that was that experience.